We have always had border checks. Anyone that's crossed into France will know that we've always had checks at the border. We're not part of the Schengen area, so...
But they've been waved through, most people, with the odd passport being checked. That's not the case anymore.
And there's every reason that that could continue.
Well, let's take a look at official government advice on travelling to France after Brexit. Check your passport is stamped if you enter or exit the Schengen area through France as a visitor. Border guards will use passport stamps to check you're complying with the 90-day visa-free limit for short stays in the Schengen area. If relevant entry or exit stamps are not in your passport, border guards will presume that you have overstayed your visa-free limit. So when the Education Secretary said this...
But they've been waved through, most people, with the odd passport being checked. That's not the case anymore.
And there's every reason that that could continue.
It was, of course, completely untrue.
People just living around these towns and villages in Kent saying, I can't leave my home because of these queues. I mean, the M20 cut off as well and just shut down. I mean, it was abject chaos. This was a deliberate decision by the French authorities to make life hard for British travellers.
This is a situation that has been caused by a lack of resource at the border. And that is what the French authorities need to address.
What's behind it?
Blame the French.
The pressures ultimately can only be resolved on the French side.
What's happened is quite simply the French border officers, they didn't turn up to work.
Ooh la la, it's enough to make your cheese turn blue. Thanks to the French, British holidaymakers are finding it almost impossible to get across the channel.
Do you think the French are on a bit of a go-slow with us?
Blame the French.
The French.
The French.
What's your best bet for a stress-free experience?
OK, well, there are lovely parts of the UK, of course.
As James O'Brien points out, if the French are responsible for the mess in Dover, it rather rubbishes any claim that we have taken back control. But perhaps it has more to do with this.
I have a particular responsibility when it comes to taking back control. It is to end the free movement of people once and for all.
The Conservative government has ended freedom of movement for British citizens between and within member countries of the European Union. Travel expert Simon Calder explains.
The big issue is this, Charlotte. Since Brexit, it's been necessary to have every single passport stamped at Dover. You might recall in the olden days, you just sort of waved your passports at the French border police. They didn't show much interest. Now they are obliged to stamp your passport. As a result of that, everything takes much longer.
Now, in the olden days, when I turned up in my car, I'd just wave a passport or a handful of passports and I'd be waved through. Sometimes, if it was really busy, they just wave all the cars through. They cannot do that anymore because this is an external frontier of the European Union, so every French border official has to say, right, we've got to check your passport.